Rolling live.
Hey, we're live. Let's go. This is gonna be hard for me because I'm so used to me
just
being
dominating,
having control over everything. But I gotta listen and be the guest.
GM. What up, folks? Exciting week. Big week. Week equals big. Got a good show today. Gonna give people a few minutes to jump in. I think if you're on Twitter today, you saw that Josh is consistently trying to push us to the fact that we might not ever actually get to a lightning round in a show eventually by packing it with 1 billion people and great topics. So no shortage of stuff today. If you're listening, you're tuning in early, go give us a retweet. Let's get some people over into this chat so we can liven it up. Same thing to you, Josh, and myself as well.
You on Twitter.
Hopefully it's out. Let's see if it's out yet. Cheryl, it's probably out. Cheryl's on top of things.
Let me see.
Man, what a chaotic week trying to applications open, talk to a bunch of builders, crypto the game, just trying to dominate my attention. Just wanted to show that I'm here for my tribe.
Yeah, it's just don't vote.
That's exactly right. It's AKA don't kill me.
Yeah, I'm not AKA. Please just keep me on for a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly. It's I like it here. I'm chilling. Don't worry about me.
I just love you were live streaming the selection process last time. I mean, Brian and I are Team Purple through and through. So
Team Purple.
Let's go.
Yeah, Brian, I tuned into your live stream for a second. I'm if this guy keeps doing this, they're gonna kick his ass off this team.
What they did is they just made a live streaming allowed channel and a live streaming not allowed channel.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, there was some discourse around it. Let's say, but I think overall we see Brian as a net public good for Purple. Much rather have him on our team than not.
Appreciate that.
Interesting to see the just tuning in on VCs in that last round, though. I think if you had a VC persona, you were gone. Even though the clue and the ultimate winning was a lovely VC book. So
yeah, it was great.
All right. Well, we got a lot to get into, so why don't we just kick this bad boy off?
Peace, do your thing. Peace. Intro.
Push button. What the hell is going on?
Wait, I'm missing this.
We're broken.
All right, we'll accept that as the intro this week.
Honestly, Peace, I think the horse noises might need to be our new intro, and I love that that's somehow the air that gets thrown up.
What is that a horse? What is the purpose of that noise?
Oh, in case another horse is on the show and we need a translator.
No big horse memes. Anyways, GM folks, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're calling it from. Episode 14 of Internet Explorers. We're going to get into all the hot topics of the consumer crypto space this week. And Josh, you curated a dope show here today, filled with a bunch of awesome people. We got Brian on screen. We're going to talk about frames. We got Yancey joining a bit later on. And then there was just no quiet at all in the line of crypto this past week. And it's probably going to get a little bit crazier shortly too, because Farcaster team is probably going to go drop something. It's going to keep devs up all weekend. So as a reminder, this episode is collectible on pods, and actually we're dropping, if you're on Farcaster, we're dropping a frame with our friends at pods.media with I think about 200 of the mints sponsored. So you should just be able to hop in there, click the button, mint the thing. I should probably go over there and recast that right now. So big fans of what's happening over there in that ecosystem. But Josh, what's up?
I'm chilling, man. Busy week. Yeah, so much going on. It was hard to try to stay very focused on, us crushing this accelerator, getting it out the door, make sure everyone that needs to know about it knows about it, while also trying to keep my tribe happy, while also trying to keep up with all this stack. There's so much happening.
So much going on, bro.
We did it. It feels like every day is Friday. I feel like when I wake up and it's we're doing Internet Explorers today. It's didn't we do that yesterday? Oh wait, I gotta curate some topics. yeah, it's the way we like it. That's why we're here.
How many shows have you guys done?
This is 14, number 14.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah, let's kick this off. So yeah, obviously we have Brian here with us. So Brian's a founder of Unlonely, and I don't know, like one of the more chaotic personalities in crypto. Brian, would you accept that?
I would agree with that statement.
All right, nice. Yeah, I think big fans of what you're doing. We're actually at our offsite like 2 weeks ago and pulled up a stream of yours, and we're just like hanging out. I think it was when you launched your Vibes token, and just had a good time watching that. But I think like what you guys are building just kind of sits at the intersection of a bunch of themes we're interested in, like, live streaming. Obviously, we're very interested in how we're doing it consistently. Meme coins, ephemeral experiences, social context building, just like all this stuff that is just like so important to crypto that I think you guys are just like running at hard. I think you actually dropped a tweet yesterday that I was laughing at about. It was like fuck traction, fuck whatever metrics. Like we're here for the vibes, and I was just like, this is the strategy you're running, man. So
okay. To be clear, I want to everyone watching, like traction is still very important. Like obviously traction. I completely agree with
Dan's reply.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I don't know. I just like to. I have less than 2,000 followers on Twitter. I'm just playing the engagement train. It's literally all it is.
Yeah.
I'll probably piss some people off on the way, but it's okay.
No, 100%. I mean, I think it's actually just like an accurate depiction of what you're building too, right? Like you're not just building a live streaming platform. You're trying to build this like world that has a social context and feel and brand, and I think you call yourselves like a cozy corner of the internet or whatever. Like you're not just building some kind of soulless, like faceless streaming platform, which I think is how we think you need to build in this space. So anyways, yeah, excited to get into it, man. Like, do you want to just kick it off by, I guess, just telling people what Unlonely is?
Yeah, I mean, it's a live stream platform. We have our trailer here. I'm basically, for the past 2 years, it's been like a year and 8 months. Jesus Christ, that's long. Longer than I thought. It feels longer, but also feels shorter. Basically, I'm like building on two principles, like two core principles. One is live streaming, the other is crypto. Those are just two things that I have very strong conviction in. I think like as people spend more and more time online, they're going to want to have higher quality experiences, and a really good live stream like this one every Friday, or like Love on Leverage, or things like a really good live stream is more like a shared experience. It's more like going to a concert than it is like watching TikTok by yourself. That's my personal opinion. People are going to want more of those experiences. And then with crypto, it's just like I believe that there is a way to financialize this content in a way that is like super direct, super in your face, not hidden, but still adds to the overall experience and doesn't take away. So like if you look at like the Love on Leverage, for people who haven't seen it, it's literally just like this Vibes token, which is like the graph is right next to the stream. The graph is part of the stream, and what happens to the Vibes token affects the content, right? If it drops to a certain price or if it hits a certain price, things happen on the content stream. But vice versa, whatever happens on the content, my guess, will also affect the Vibes token. So I'm just really interested in seeing how that plays out. Really, like if you've been following me at all, like we know that we just like ship a bunch of experiments very quickly, for like and so like I think it's an interesting experiment. I hope it works out, and I'm interested to see how it goes. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Love on Leverage. It's like a dating show, right? Where people basically vote for the couple compatibility by buying or selling Vibes token, which is a token on bonding curve.
Well, so the season 1 was like all about betting, and so like we would bring these people on blind dates, and then people could bet on if they thought the girl would want to go on a second date with the guy. And that was fun because anytime the guy said something bad or like not rizzy, people would start selling, and anytime something cute happened, people would start buying. What we changed here is now we want the token price to actually dictate what happens on stream. So now we have like a panel of people, like for like the first episode will be Coop, right? And we have a panel of girls who are gonna one by one come onto the stream and talk to him. And if at any point the price dips to like a certain point that like we'll set, we'll kick her off and replace her with someone else. And so that's like sort of the nice side effect. That's like sort of like we want to give the audience more power in actually dictating what happens content wise. So yeah, sorry, I've kind of been talking a bunch, but I'm really excited about this. Really
that's why you're here, man. You're here to talk. And then so there are other people that have like other people can stream on your platform too, right? Are you like kind of heavily curating the shows are kind of like aligned with, you know, the brand and the world you guys are trying to build, or how do you think about that part?
No, anyone can stream on Unload if they want to. We haven't like automated the process yet. God, dude, the homepage it has so much work. I don't even want to look at it. But we haven't fully like we haven't made it so that you can just like make a channel by clicking buttons. Like it's still kind of like an onboarding process you go through. Grace, you can DM Grace on Twitter. But anyone can become a streamer if they want to. I would say that right now we are out the feature that really differentiates us. And I've found that the more effective way to properly test that feature is through doing these shows and having like hitting like a threshold amount of users actually using it at one time. Because it's hard to get people to show up. I'm sure you guys know too. Like it's hard to get people to show up to a live stream. It's a lot easier for people to watch a video if it's like async and they can just watch it whenever they have free time. And so getting enough people to show up to then be like, okay, we have enough people here. Now we can accurately test this feature. Has been a challenge. So that's really like these shows, Love on Leverage. It's like a GDM, but it's really just like a way for us to test out features. You know, it's like, hey, here's this new feature.
Yeah, I mean, I love that sort of like you have sort of a mass market opportunity, and I think there's clearly live streaming is just a really compelling type of entertainment, especially over the last couple of years. You've sort of seen it move from more niche in gaming and into more culture. So the highest paid and fastest growing creators over the last year have been live stream first. So it's clearly on trend there. I think what's been surprising for me is in hosting these is that people continue to show up, and I'm sure that's the same for you guys. And then also it just feels like one of the big challenges we have at Seed Club is that we're sort of in our own world all the time, right? We do most of our work with founders. It's not super public. And so how do we express the sort of the vibes, like the personality, the approach, the things that just don't get caught or communicated well in tweets? And so just having this as like a regular touch point. So if you're to bring people to expose people to the latest thinking, et cetera, has been so valuable for us. So anybody who's building a product out there in consumer crypto or crypto more generally, where you sort of need to bring people along in this adventure, whether it's just early user testers and trying to figure stuff out, or you're trying to launch the next big meme coin. I'm pretty confident that live streaming is going to be a big trend in the space over the next while, especially because of the lack of trust that's just inherent in what we're doing here. If you can sit down and watch somebody consistently and see who they are, especially in a live situation, I just feel like it's so much easier to start to trust those people. Maybe not in a blanket way, but I think over time for sure. So we're big fans of what you're doing, and I think like specifically like the financial games that get dropped into here, and just I mean, I know in talking to you, there's just a dozen other experiments I'm sure you want to go run right now, but maybe give us a look into the future, like love, the Love on Lonely. Oh my God, I'm forgetting the name of it. Line on Leverage. Episode's gonna be fire. You have some great guests, but what's the future look like? What are the next experiments you're gonna run?
Yeah, I think like as more and more tools get built for creators, I kind of view creators like more as producers than as like just like a single content creator, especially like top creators. These are people who are, playing different characters, sometimes VTubing, editing, doing all these different things. So I really think of them more as producers, and I'm kind of interested. That's like a trend I see going in towards, and I think that the type of content that fits in really well with something so highly financialized like what we're doing is like more produced, like once a month bangers. And it's like a matter of just like lining up. Like what I'm hoping is that as we continue to do these Love on Leverage shows, or maybe we do a different show or whatever, what I hope is that it inspires people to come up with their own shows. If people want to do like a Shark Tank show, I think that would do really well on Lonely with this like financial vibes token or whatever shit like that. Oh, dude, you're killing me, bro. I don't want to look at this.
This is like punishment worst nightmare.
You're trying to buy the token.
I mean, we did try when we tuned into your live stream from our offsite. We did try to break your website by just clicking all the buttons a million times, and it stood up incredibly well then. So it's just kind of part of our vibe here.
The homepage needs work. Yeah, that's something that we gotta do.
People love it. I've seen people on Twitter being like, "Oh no, actually, I was in Figma files low key. Someone shared some Figma files, and they were like, "Yo, check out Unlonely. The vibe here is so casual and good. I think it's something we could really learn from."
Interesting.
Look
So
out.
what you're doing is working. People
Piece note
feel
low key in Figma files with his
Yeah.
friends is like so
Yeah,
perfect.
I mean, I'll take it, I guess. Sure.
I mean, chat, should we? The whole Shark Tank thing generally feels a little bit weird to me, but maybe it could be done in a C Club aligned way. If you're in the chat and you think that's something we should maybe do with Unlonely, let us know. Could be fun. Could be interesting. There's a way to go do it well. Josh, we got so much to get into here, so I feel like we got to kick Brian the hell out of here because
Let's do it.
he needs to go live stream and go get ready. When does the next show start? And where can people follow you?
Follow me on Twitter, BD Guan. I'm on Farcaster too.
Love
Brian
on Leverage is when?
Love and Leverage, February 12th to 15th, 8 p.m. Eastern. One episode a day.
It's going to pop off. And I don't know if you guys are already full for sponsors, but if you're building in the consumer crypto space and you want to get in front of people, you should hit up Brian, because I think the sponsor opportunity there would be pretty intriguing. So
yeah, there's like probably going to be a super high density of users and founders and builders building in consumer crypto. So yeah, we're open to getting sponsors set up. So yeah.
Cool. I really appreciate you. Go Team Purple. You're all the rest of your teams are garbage, and but I also love you. Don't kill me. Thank you.
Don't vote me off. Yeah.
Thanks, boss.
Appreciate it. See you guys.
All right, let's get Jacopo up here. I see Yancey hanging out down there. Yancey, what's up? We'll bring you up shortly. Frames.
I love. Hey, new friends. What's up?
What's up? Nice to meet you, everyone.
Nice to meet you too. I love meeting people for the first time just live on stage. But I got enough recommendations that you were the right person to talk to about frames that I was confident in doing this. So yeah, I guess how to kick this off. I guess like probably everybody watching this is very aware of what has been happening on Farcast for the last week on frames. Piece I dropped, I think, a Dune dashboard just showing what happened to, like, look at that chart. Look at the Farcaster daily active users when they dropped frames last week. It went like 4x and it's kind of sustained since. So anyways, there's just been like so much frames activity. I think it's very, very hard to get a grasp of like this, all the experimentation that's happening. It feels like learnings and things people are trying are compounding really quickly. I think we're seeing a lot of like companies with existing products that are working, figuring out how to leverage them for distribution or to just like extend their products in interesting ways. So yeah, really just wanted to bring someone who's been deep into it on. Yeah, just go ahead.
I mean, take us back to Frame Friday, right? This thing drops, and then all of a sudden you have this idea, and what was it that you're running at there? Because, and then also give people sort of a sense of exactly what you built and the scale that kind of came from that, because it was pretty wild to watch.
Yeah, so where can I start? It was obviously sudden for everyone, including me. So when I saw the announcement, and I wasn't even at home when I saw it, and then I remember Jesse Pollack posting something about like, it would be cool if someone wanted to do something on chain on Base, just let me know. And I dropped a comment there just saying I might deploy an NFT or something on a frame. And he said, do it. And yeah, that happened, by the way, at a time that I live in Europe. So it was quite late where I am. It was around midnight. And so, yeah, I started hacking around that time. And I think I got the whole thing working around 3-4 hours later. And so, yes, basically I didn't sleep that night. And 4 a.m. deployed that thing. And
what was that thing? Like, because I think that's important here.
Yeah, so that was the first like frame NFT. Many called it Magic Mint because basically it allows you to go on Farcaster and click a button and like without you having to do anything, without having to connect wallets or like do literally anything, you're gonna receive an NFT in your wallet. And that's kind of like the UX unlock that we've all been waiting for in the industry, I think. And this is kind of why I think it went this way, this viral.
Yeah, and I mean, so you dropped the first frame NFT in a frame, and
yes.
How many of them were there? There was like 1,000 of them. Is that right?
It was 1,000. Yeah. So it was limited availability. So the first 1,000.
I click the button, and now my
Yeah.
OpenSea is just getting a ton of offers on this frame because I think people see it as like a culturally relevant NFT in the Farcaster ecosystem.
Yeah.
And of course, if you're if you're tuning in anywhere else, like on Twitter or LinkedIn, because we still love streaming to LinkedIn, come on over to live.seedclub.xyz. You can see the chat there. The chat is popping off with people minting these because we dropped a pods.media NFT, so like a collectible for this episode using pretty much the same mechanic that I think you sort of popularized last weekend. So people are in there. The first 200 are free to mint directly from the from Farcaster, and you're 100% right, man. Like this, I mean, Zora did mint from within feed, but there's this, you're paying with warps, and so it still felt very much like a traditional crypto transaction. This meta of being able to just deploy something into a social graph where people can, people are recasting and liking, they're gating content in that way, and then you just click a button and it shows up in your wallet. It's a step shift in distribution and collecting in a way that I think, we've really been looking for a long time in crypto. And I think it's going to change a lot of dynamics, right? It moves away from a lot of the sort of almost scarcity, or at least scarcity is almost like sponsored by the creator in a certain way. So like I could see the first few hundred being sponsored, and then if it really kicks off, there being others coming in and minting it. That's how we structured the one we're doing today. So I think it's super interesting. But I'm curious, I think right now it looks like the Farcaster team is saying every Friday we're coming in, we're dropping something new. There's a whole bunch of new stuff happening today. Rest in peace for you living in Europe, because it always seems to happen around probably midnight in your time. But like, what are you looking at in the future here? What are you working on right now, or what's interesting?
I'm working on a bunch of different things. So first of all, before like diving into frames, I was basically building Slice, which is a protocol for on-chain commerce. Basically allows you to buy and sell anything on-chain. And so yes, actually the NFT mint, I said it somewhere in one of my casts, but it uses Slice under the hood, which is also part of the reason why I was able to set it up that quickly and like have all that composability with it. I made also a bunch of other experiments that Slice came useful for that. So yes, I will keep working on Slice and make it a part of frames. I have a lot of ideas around this. There is actually something that I'm gonna cast in, I think, half an hour or so. It's I wanted to do it before the podcast, but I wasn't able. But I hope that it's it's part of what I plan to do in the future. Like make it easy for everyone to easily spin up frames, I guess.
I'm curious how.
Go for it, Josh.
I'm curious how, I guess, the existence of frames now is like reframing your vision for the future of on-chain e-commerce, because like I think they're just like massive implications here, right? Like being able to have a frame at the source of attention with the social graph, with people's assets, with people's money. I think Xerox Designer dropped one of his designs this week. It was like the one-click checkout in a frame with like built-in attribution, because like that's super easy. Like how was that something that was like always on your mind thinking about on-chain e-commerce, or has this kind of reframed it?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, I was not expecting to do something from a frame, because I think that's a concept that is new for everyone. But as soon as I saw that, and as soon as frame dropped, yes, that was part of my head started spinning about around this. I still think that for a full commercial experience, it would be hard to like keep it tied to such a small box and 4 buttons, because you need to have a lot of context. You need to, usually an application is more suitable for this, but it is, I think the real potential of frames is to reduce the number of clicks that you do in an app afterwards, and in general reduce the number of clicks that takes a user to experiment with whatever you're building. You allow them to do something very specific by clicking one or more buttons. And I think this is the real unlock here.
I mean, TikTok shopping experience, Instagram shopping experience, these are huge businesses. The big difference there is that you're locked into the rules of that platform and sort of limited by that. And so I think my entire thesis on Web3 social is that it's not going to look like, Web 1 into Web 2, where we just went from 0 to a billion, but it's going to be through the efforts of people building really novel experiences, because developers can and actually want to go build on a platform that allows them to continue to do the things they're doing rather than being, afraid of getting cut off. And I think it's been interesting to see a lot of the conversation on Farcaster be around almost internet history, because, I got my start in the shift from Web 1 into Web 2, and the open social graph from Facebook at that time was this huge unlock, and social media at that time was the sense of like, okay, now I have access to distribution. And, the tail there is one where the advertising business model really forced them to cut down both, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook really cut down the sort of integrations and other clients that were available there. And I think it was a very smart business model decision for them at the time. But this open space that allows people like you to come in and experiment, I think it's just going to create these toys that are going to turn into bigger things that are going to really start to drive more and more people into this network. And we're seeing that happen today. And I think the graph is up and to the right, but it's going to look absolutely tiny compared to where we are in 6 months or 6 years,
Absolutely. It's not even been a week. It's crazy to think about it. I mean, at least from my perspective, it was kind of a life-changing experience for me, because I was never exposed to such a level of like engagement and craziness around anything that I did. So it was a first for me. But it's also, I think, really inspiring to see literally every builder in Web3 like going and doing something around frames. And I think this has to do a lot with the community that was built around Farcaster, the potential, of course, of the feature itself, but also I think a lot of the reason goes back to also how Base is powering up all this ecosystem of builders and empowering them to do something like with the tools that allows them to ship very, very fast and very, very cool things. I think it's awesome to see in general.
I really want to check in on Jesse Pollack and make sure that he's actually getting some sleep, because the effort he's put into this sort of developer relations over the last little while has been absurd, absolutely absurd. All right, man. Well, we're going to continue to watch your journey. Really excited to see, what you and others in this ecosystem are building. We dropped our applications for SEO 7 last week and specifically called out Farcaster, because of the developer density that we see there. There's just such an intense focus and excitement, I think, from people building in that ecosystem right now. I think it's going to extend to a much broader path for Web3 social more generally. I think there's still a lot of room out there in the market for people to take different runs at it. I think we're going to see more people integrating these Web3 social tools into their products. And so it's going to be an exciting few months ahead. Yeah, man, just you got something cool happening. We'd love to see it. Here to support.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Okay, man. Look at that video on Farcaster.
Video on Farcaster.
All right, let's get Yancey. Oh, he's already up here. Peace. Thank you.
Hello, Yancey. So I teased in my tweet yesterday talking about bringing Yancey on, just thinking about the guests that we had on and this sort of lovely bookend between the insanity of Brian and just like the soothing calmness of Yancey. And I feel like maybe we'll get that here. Maybe not. Maybe you're going to drop some insanity on us here right now. So welcome, my friend.
Depends on your perspective. Yeah. What's up? Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
You're insane in your own way, right?
Yeah, we'll see. That's true. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Really, really excited to get you on here, Yancey. I think maybe Austin retweeted a video that got created about your upcoming release. And then I think was scrolling your Farcaster and saw that, I think you said something like 2014 is going to be when our vision really becomes obvious to people. And I think just, watching you guys over the last couple of years, just kind of, very systematically and thoughtfully do these drops that were clearly pushing towards this vision, but, intentionally not running at it because you didn't actually know exactly what it looked like. But I guess from your language, it seems like you now have maybe found the thing or something you're excited by. So really excited to hear more about it.
Yeah, there's a funny way that the journey of an idea can be like this orb you can't quite perceive. And then eventually you see, and it's so obvious to you. And it's like, how did I not see that forever? But there is like this way we have to find things. And that journey of finding, that's what creates depth, lore, meaning, a why behind a product. But yeah, we are in the final weeks before MetaLabel will be unveiled to the world as a new space for releasing, selling, and exhibiting creative work. So it's a place where creative people can drop physical work, digital work, music, video, ideas, podcasts, experiences, bundles of any of the above. And they can put them out to the world and they can sell them. And so you can think of this as like Bandcamp for everything, or a curated Etsy for creative work. And just as like our story has continually talked about over the last 2 years, one of the key pieces of architecture in this is this reimagination of what a label is. We traditionally think of label as like a record label or a fashion label. Label is our term for any group of creative people who co-release together. They could like have the same taste, come from the same place, they're all friends. There's like a million reasons why people might put out work together. But we've built a platform, a product stack that will let them create a group, publish work by them and others, share proceeds, share cred, and just build really a new type of business, cultural institution. And it's going to be something that anyone will be able to do over time. And so, yeah, it's going to start out just in the next few weeks. We'll have like a drop a week for a while as we make sure it's all tight. And then we'll begin to open up the wait list, which is like thousands long at this point. So we'll see how, where that goes. But yeah, it's really almost here.
So I've been, one of the consistent conversations you and I have is sort of this journey of how crypto fits into enabling this vision. And I think for, many builders, there's this sort of like really awkward middle zone that people can get stuck in between like, say service and creators. We talk about gamers or artists, and they're, like token and crypto is just such a dirty word over there. And, for good reason and maybe for not, but that's maybe a discussion for another time. And then of course there's this like, hyperactive on-chain world that's building, and it's maybe leaning into the speculative nature of it, and much more than that, of course. But I've seen you sort of navigate that very thoughtfully with this orb of a vision in hand. And I'm curious, where have you landed in this current release?
Yeah, I mean, here comes the craziness, but I think that we are gonna provide a experience and a product offering that mirrors, I think, all the best parts of crypto. And there are going to be no blockchains involved. So, some people are doing like the Privy wallet, like we'll pretend we're Web 2, but really we're Web 3. We're more going to be an entirely new paradigm for like dropping creative work. It's going to have a very fresh feel, things that haven't existed in the market before. And ultimately, we found ways to build those things that would not, there's a lot of benefits to building on chain. There's also cost to building on chain. And we think that for our core creative audience, like onboarding to crypto, getting paid in crypto, off-ramping, all those things are a tough sell. Many great projects like the two gentlemen before me are like doing amazing work to convince people that it's worth being here. That is not MetaLabel's job. So, we have the essence of these things. And yeah, I think it's going to label them to be used by a broader section of people. So a lot more people get to experience collaborative releasing, collaborative governance, doing things together, shifting, creating post-platform content. Everything on MetaLabel is going to be open and interoperable. But we are just using a different stack to do that.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. My expectation is we'll see many of like the functionalities that you would expect to see in a more crypto native product, but really, yeah, without the blockchain. And I think it makes me, there's such a tribalism in crypto, I think, and there's like, And I would expect that maybe from some in your community, maybe sort of face that already. But I think it's important for us to sort of zoom out a bunch here and think about what are the major blockers right now to actually getting people to the ultimate goal, which I think is, a more free and more open, more collaborative, new earning opportunities. And I think we should be open to there being many paths to getting there. And I think there's two things maybe coming from more of my crypto native perspective that I think are really interesting in this line. One, I think is what you're doing, right? You're introducing, popularizing, hopefully, these concepts that I think we all hold as really compelling in crypto, and maybe doing that work to get it into new audiences, which I think just grows the pie more generally. And I also think this sort of points meta is one that people are actually sleeping on quite a bit. Points instead of tokens, and also sort of being still on chain and on crypto rails, but that ultimately being sort of abstracted in a way. And so you kind of have the composability of on chain data and sort of this ability to earn, but maybe the earnings aren't hyper volatile tokens, et cetera. So I think there's just like a lot of interesting space around it.
Yeah, it's a wide space, and the way I've come to think of it is like, you can have a technology where the ends justify the means, or the means justify the ends. And I think that crypto is the means justify the ends. The ledger, a blockchain, is a very specific technology that offers a lot of like unique powers, but because of it, there are no refunds, there's no consumer protection, there's all of these things that I, as a business owner, I'm having to accept as something that my customers will have to deal with. Because of the means of the blockchain, and just as everything's about the blockchain, there's just certain things that are going to happen. But instead, if you think like, well, what are the end results we want, and what are the optimal ways to do that, which is ultimately what we went through last year, was like a 9-month process of that. We found new ways to build things that don't exist in the market that I think will reach people, but it is like trying to get to that same destination. Like, it's that destination that drew us in MetaLabel into, crypto in this world, and like being inspired about a lot of ideas there. And so this is what we've come to believe is what makes sense for us to build this product right now. And what's wonderful about architecting a product in this way is that because it's interoperable, we have pipes that can go into anything. And so if we wish to become a more on-chain product in the future, we can. The affordances will cross over. So, we'll see whether we're yet another, like, we're just the weirdo yet again, or whether this is a model that proves to create a better outcome on the internet, and maybe our forces together meet. But yeah, we'll have a lot more to share. We'll be documenting our whole stack very soon, so people can dig in.
I mean, the thing that I loved about, like, the core insight behind the early days of Seed Club was that there's this new type of thing that could be built, and that nobody knew how to go build it well. And that if we just brought really smart people together who are pushing at their own edges, we're going to learn faster, and that would ultimately be valuable. And so, just on a personal level, but also I think on a product and sort of a business level, I think what you guys are doing is just really important and exciting to see. And of course, there are, 200 other projects we've been able to work with as part of Seed Club that are all pushing at their own edges. And it's really that collective learning by pushing at those edges that's going to hopefully really accelerate, what our goal here is really to put these new tools and opportunities in the hands of real human beings, building real things and spurring, as Josh says, in a hot pursuit of a more interesting internet. So very much looking forward to seeing what you put out. I think it's going to cause some waves, and thanks for hanging out with us today, my man.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, my friends.
All right, we'll see you on the internet.
See you, Pete. All right.
Oh yeah. All righty. What do we got going? So, I mean, I just love seeing people building cool shit, period, and having a point of view on it and running at it. And, what do we say? Being really fucking right or really fucking wrong. Hopefully doing that like often and early.
And with tons of style. Are you kidding me? These guys got great taste. This is a bunch of awesome stuff. If you're wondering what to get into, metalabel.com is a great place to get into something right now, because all these links are dank.
Yeah.
Dank links.
I'm genuinely so excited to see this product, because they're just some of the most, like, there are two ways to build something, right? There's like the very like kind of thoughtful, methodical, we'll test this edge, we'll regroup, we'll test another edge. And then there's, which is the approach they're taking. And there's the other one, which is just like we're just gonna fuck around and find out really
YOLO.
quickly. So I think like there's probably just like so much learnings packaged into what's going to be this like big thoughtful release that I think is going to be very interesting to.
Yeah, and he's such a good writer too, so it's
explore.
going to be framed in an interesting way. So I'm looking
100%.
forward to that.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Yep.
How are we going to get
Okay,
through all
let's
this
go.
other stuff?
We're not.
I mean, well, okay, fine.
Oh, we are.
Am I going to
We
be
are.
okay with that?
20
we
minutes?
are. Okay.
I want to test us. We need to keep pushing at
Okay.
our own edges of speed. It's funny because like within this crypto AI topic, I have like 4 subtopics, but let's go. Yeah, so I think last week we talked about Fred Wilson's piece on minting as a potential like native business model for AI, and then this week saw both Jacob and Vitalik drop pieces that kind of continued pushing on and exploring this crypto AI intersection. Also saw that Claire Silver did this sick generative AI drop, and then there's also some like fun AI bot controversy in crypto the game. So just kind of have some like crypto AI related topics here that we can quickly run through. So yeah, first one's Vitalik. So Vitalik kind of dropped this post. It's kind of big picture, explores 4 categories of AI applications in crypto, which he identified as AI as a player in a human game, which I think like Botto is an example of. AI as an interface to a game, which Dialect, which is it's like a Telegram trading bot, but using LLMs to make it like very conversational. It looks pretty sick. AI as the rules of the game. I think he used the example of AI judges or like AI powered governance. And then AI as like the actual objective of the game. So like DAOs or blockchains, like purpose built to like construct an AI or like manage an AI. And interestingly, he's like, very optimistic and excited about the first 2 and very like tentative and scared, I think, about the second 2. But I think like one idea that he mentioned that I just wanted to call out because I found it super interesting was the idea of like AI participation in prediction markets, specifically as a solution to what he called like info defense. So like, telling true information from false information. And basically he says that, because of, the scaling improvements in blockchains, you can now have like micro markets emerge that are probably like too small for humans to want to participate in or like have fun in, but AIs like don't care. So you can basically have AIs participating in these like micro prediction markets across like a variety of things that we want truth discovery on. So it's kind of like, content moderation. He provided an example of like, transaction simulation, is this person talking to you real? So I don't know, that just kind of got my imagination going, but did you read this?
I didn't get into the details, but I love that everything you shared here with us today. And it's going to get weird, man. I think one of the pieces that's probably required reading from Vitalik is his DACC post, where he kind of, takes I guess it's a fork of the, the effective accelerationism, the sort of more tech optimist edge, maybe. And I think maybe his hesitancy around the second 2 points he mentioned there are probably best described in detail in that post. So yeah, super interesting.
Yeah, I really just want to prompt people to read it. It's good, pretty accessible. There's a couple sections I skipped because it got a little too in the weeds for me, but okay, sick. Yeah, let's jump to Jacob's post on, I think was it called AI Plus? They like the pluses over there. Yeah,
big plus fan.
Big pluses fan. So yeah, basically Jacob here is talking about how he had this line that I really like. That's like crypto's as much of a new IP system as a new financial system, and kind of outlines why potentially crypto is a solution for like the incompatibility of current internet businesses with AI. Shows how ChatGPT or OpenAI is getting sued by a bunch of companies. I think the New York Times for like scraping all their journalism, and when there's no like effective attribution or value capture mechanisms for IP, the incentive is to like lock it down, right? Like restrict access so you can pay wallet, add wallet, license it, and then like, but fundamentally this just devalues it, at least in the way we think about it, because it reduces attention, reduces like the remixing potential of it, and ultimately just like reduces its cultural significance. So I think it gets like really interesting in a world where attribution and value capture is like programmatically on chain, and then the incentive like truly just becomes to distribute your IP far and wide, right? Because it's actually just become how it becomes valuable. Like the more attention it has, the more values ultimately like stored in this thing. And interestingly, it's also what AI wants, right? It can be, if it's on chain, it can be freely accessed. It can be used by the system. So it's this really like kind of compatible world for like the creators, the AI, and ultimately like consumers. So he went deeper and provided a bunch more examples of how Zora has become the on-chain home for AI, but I don't want to pump his bags too much.
Yeah. We got to stop fanboying over Jacob over here, even though it's probably in the chat right now. I think the thread that he's been pulling on for a long time, his interest in nouns is really built around this as well, right? Imagine this perpetual funding mechanism that's just designed to put the noggles on, 1,000-foot noggles in the middle of Times Square as being like a valuable thing for them to go do. And it's been interesting to see that community sort of struggle and battle over like what that ultimate vision is. But I think, we just keep seeing progress towards that direction. And without a doubt, AI is going to throw another wrench in what IP means. And, I think a lot of folks that I talk to really start to feel this is a big driver of the inevitability of NFTs. And I think as, an interesting wedge into the worlds where people feel like their work is, probably going to be devalued by bots and AI tech more generally. So it's a good post. He's got a bunch of goals. Jacob.energy. You can go back and see like a lot of sort of the thinking that I think is emerged to get him to where he is today.
Nice. Moving on. Yeah, that's a quick one, but just thought, so Claire Silver did generative AI drop on Brain Drops. It was funny because I kind of got captivated by AI generative art when Life in West America was dropped, because I just thought it was fascinating. Kind of loved this, like the nostalgic AI blend. Kind of got like, I don't know, had like a 2-week obsession with Brain Drops and then kind of lost track of it and forgot about it. But came back up on my radar because Claire Silver sold out her drop mid, I think 500 ETH. And also
Let's go.
Collection's pretty sick. So worth clicking through. Again, just another example, like AI is alive and well on chain already. Obviously a lot of stuff to figure out how to like close the loop, I guess, on a lot of this stuff, and some of what Vitalik's talking about, but where people are pushing on the edges.
Artists leading the way. Let's go.
Artists are leading the way. All right. Okay, last AI topic, Crypto the Game. So Crypto the Game kicked off this week. Shout out Red Tribe. Hope you're watching. Keep me alive.
Cool.
It's, I don't know. I mean, first of all, like Dylan, if you're watching this, shout out. It's been fun as hell so far. We're like a day in, but just seeing people rally around, it's been sick. But I think within like minutes or a couple minutes before the entry deadline closed, Anish added 200 bots to the game. And it just, so hilarious. Like, Anish is known for doing stuff like this.
He's a goat.
He's a goat. We'd love to see it. So the game, it like technically violated the terms of service. So, the bots were booted. Dylan ultimately decided to refund the money, which is great. And I think the right decision, but just kind of like created this very interesting dialogue around like bots participating in games meant for humans. And, I think this is just going to be a thing that is just constantly discussed.
Well, he was on last episode and talked about sort of the next one being anonymous, this one being for people, and the next one being anonymous. So I think, we'll see a ton of bots playing that next one. I think there's sort of another topic related to this, because there's just such drama generated around, him being kicked off, that maybe there's a bit of vagueness in the terms of service. People called Dylan and Crypto the Game scammers. I think Zach XBT even tweeted it for a while. Ultimately, I think had the deep confidence in Dylan and the team. They're doing their best, and I think he mentioned sort of the challenge of having that happen like a minute before the game was to start off and doing what he thought was best at the moment. So stoked that he actually, I think they're friends. They talk. That's great. But I think it speaks to the challenge of trying to bring a bit of a Web2 mentality into crypto, and recognizing just like the insane amount of attention and maybe distrust that exists in here, and how hard it is as a builder to go out there. So it's always disappointing to me when I see other real thoughtful builders call out other real thoughtful builders rather than maybe just sending a DM or trying to be a bridge there. Right. So I was maybe biting my tongue for a little bit out there on the internet, but had ultimate trust that it was going to get solved. And so I'm stoked it has. And I've got a new, habit at 5 p.m. my time where I have to go check in and at least send some messages in the Discord so people know I'm a real human and they maybe don't want to vote me out. Hopefully it'll be helpful in some of these games. I don't know. The last one I was like, what the hell's going on here?
And we're not VCs, so we're
yeah. Don't work at A16Z.
No. Nice. Yeah, I think I kind of can see both sides of it, right? Like, one, it would have been super fun to just like see what happened with these 200 bots. My guess is they would have done very well and everyone would have voted them off. But on the other side, like, so much of the value so far has just been like coordinating and playing with real humans and meeting new people that you kind of have this like base level of aligned interests with, because we're all in crypto, at which like this would obviously detract from. So maybe having like a bot tribe or something could be hilarious.
I would love, it made me think like how much fun it would be if you did have bots that were like trained by, I don't know, everyone's Twitter behavior, and we did no voting, and we all just had to like go about our days to like
Ooh.
influence our AIs that would like make the decisions or something. But yeah, it's like a little bit confusing when we're not all on the same playing level, I guess. For the
Farcaster would enable this, Lens would enable this, like these open social protocols would actually allow you to go do something like that, which is kind of cool to think about.
Yeah.
All right, let's go talk about our friends at Catalog, because that was a heck of a drop this week.
No doubt.
Let's do it. Yeah, so I think so Catalog, they released Catalog Radio this week, which is basically a curated 24-hour radio playing, I think just Catalog records, or at least exclusively on-chain music. And basically, listeners can, it's this great music discovery experience. Listeners can chat and support artists in context by, I think they call it co-signing music they love, pay a couple bucks. I think like two things like really hit me, I think, looking at this. One is, there's just like actually a lot of really good on-chain music. Like I was sitting there listening to the radio for like most of yesterday while I was working, and you don't know that you're listening to like on-chain music or like artists that are kind of crypto related or adjacent, right? Like it just sounds like a very good internet radio station. I think the second thing is, and I tweeted this maybe end of last week, I'm just like very obsessed with, builders running at building contexts that people want to transact within. I think like everything, like, business models, consumer behaviors all stem from creating contexts that people want to transact within. And I think still like to date, the context that has had the most impact of that on me and had made me want to buy an NFT the most for non-financial reasons was like Songcamp's Chaos. It's just sitting there, being among friends in Discord, listening to great music, hearing the stories of like these creative people, spending months to create this great music. You want to commemorate that moment, participate in like the social minting experience. You want to support the creative work of these artists. It was like truly like a no-brainer mint. And I think, this is a step in that direction. So, listening to this radio, having a connection with a song and being able to just like throw a couple bucks at the artist to support and co-sign it and, have some social experiences that maybe arise from that, I think is really smart of them.
Yeah, lots of fun. Lots of people loved it. It's exciting to see as it seems like it's a new primitive that they can do a lot of interesting things with. So I'd expect to see some more experiments from them soon.
Yep. Cool. So I can fly through this one. So Andrew Trent dropped a good post on incentives. It's like it's nothing new. It's the stuff we all know. It's incentive programs attract a different type of marginal user than organic signups, and they perform worse, and they don't solve lacking retention or engagement, blah, 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 all that stuff. I think like really when I read that and what it got me thinking about is how this actually changes when like genuine ownership is possible. Like, of course, there's no loyalty to Uber because like who cares about decentralized commoditized ride sharing product, right? Like if Lyft's giving me $5 to go have the exact same experience over there, I will. But if I actually was like earning Uber tokens or felt some like ownership in Uber, and like I think that would feel very different. So I think like, both like great posts. I think still a lot to learn from it. But I also feel like we're in a new world with new rules and can't just like blindly accept things that Web 2 had learned.
Yeah, I think that's a great call out. It reminded me of there's a popular thread yesterday talking about early Costco employees or that have just been working there for 20 plus years, making a strong living, but having a really strong employee stock ownership plan, and that many of them after 20 years are sitting on $4 or $5 million worth of equity in this company that's just done incredible over a while, right? So I think like the power of stock options is driven so much of the effort and wealth creation in tech generally, and it really hasn't trickled beyond that. I think you can talk about sort of like the two worlds that we live in right now, those and the haves and have-nots. And if you own equity in a home, own equity in the stock market, you're more likely to be in a place that's better than if you haven't. And so, to me, this is sort of day one stuff. I've been fascinated with media forever, tech forever. Was an early Twitter user and always felt like I was on the outside of this explosion that was happening living up here in Vancouver and not working in Silicon Valley. I think like the core intention behind Seed Club is really trying to tap into this, right? How can we go bring more products, and how can we build Seed Club into this sort of consumer experience itself, where you get to participate in the value creation alongside investors. So as a builder, as a early explorer, as somebody who's contributing to the value of these networks that we're building, that you actually get to have a sense of ownership in it as well. Of course, mechanisms are still challenging, how to go do that well, and they usually start off as being very, very speculative, and many are just sort of short term. But I have deep confidence in our ability to figure out how to do these well. And I think that social context you talk about, the sense of a big adventure that you're going on, this deep belief, I think has proven to be a core mechanism that ultimately leads to more retention around these incentive drops than just sort of speculation or utility.
Yeah.
Fun next topic to get into then, relevant to this.
Let's jump over to this. So yeah, FriendTech, I guess the point system ended on Friday. And yeah, this guy just like recapped the numbers they were doing, which is just insane, right? Like you got to love crypto to like be able to drive $27 million of revenue while still like being miles away from any signs of having product market fit. It's just a beautiful thing for a business creator. But I think second, so yeah, I guess like first of all, like props, like that's crazy. Second of all, it reminded me of, I think we were talking about like Whales Market. We were talking about it maybe a month ago. I remember looking at it and there was like basically no volume. I think they had just launched. But this reminded me to go back and check it. And they've actually done like $300,000 in like FriendTech points sales and deals. So I just thought it was cool. There's this like secondary market for points forming. They have this like cool model where basically there's like an escrow contract. So the purchaser of the points deposits their funds in the escrow contract. The seller of the points has to deposit collateral. When the tokens ultimately get deposited, the deal gets settled. If the token holder doesn't actually deposit them, then they lose their collateral. So pretty interesting. They're doing like millions of dollars of volume. I don't know, cool product.
Yeah, and word on the street is FriendTech V2 or V3, whatever V they're on right now is in the works, and I expect that to make a bunch of waves. And the other thing this sparks for me is just like the number of VCs that I think are still looking at consumer as like not a big space in crypto is still shockingly high for me. It just seems like the most obvious thing. And when you look at numbers like this,
right,
okay, maybe it's an outlier or whatever, but I mean, come on, folks, there is a deep desire for people to participate in these things. There's clear revenue mechanisms that are being generated here. We think that this is the pinnacle or the epitome of what consumer experiences are going to be like in crypto. Give me a break. So for all of you builders out there that are pushing on that vision, like let's fucking go. It's going to be an interesting next couple of years.
Love that call out. All right, peace. Solana Hunger Games. So I actually don't really know much about this product, but Solana Hunger Games captured my attention, and so did the accompanying crypto word vomit they have there of an on-chain game merging augmented reality and SocialFi in a hunt for glory and soul. I don't know. I signed up. The onboarding experience was really nice. I think the idea of like having, it's like an IRL scavenger hunt, and the idea of having both like hunters, like the people on the ground playing it, and also sponsors who are like people online that aren't necessarily in the location that can like still participate and win alongside the people that are actually playing it is kind of this like just crypto primitive almost, like we talked about it last week with Crypto the Game, like what happens when prediction markets form around it or like player meme coins form around it. And I think that we've talked to teams that are trying to do similar things, bring similar things to the to like real like AAA gaming worlds and esports world. So I think just this idea of like game players and then games existing around the games in like perpetuity is just this cool kind of like uniquely enabled thing by crypto.
I mean, is this Pokemon Go V2 or Web3? You're just going to see people running around with like 17 phones strapped to their bikes trying to go farm points by chasing. I don't know. I have no idea what the actual gameplay will be like, but yeah, it's an interesting mix for sure.
Let's go.
How are we going to have time to do all this shit, Josh? How are we going to? I don't know. We're back to the fight for attention. Let's go.
Don't know. Last one I just want to call out was, I think, Jess and I, we dropped a little kind of post on to just like tease apart some ideas that we've kind of loosely been talking about. I think you dropped one on what we mean when we say consumer crypto. I dropped one on what we mean when we, say consumer products should be strongly mimetic. And then we also dropped one from the Seed Club account just on like a kind of the three like big core benefits that founders often mention about when they come through Seed Club. So just wanted to call attention to those. If you haven't seen them, go check out our Twitter accounts.
Yeah, there are words that are incomplete to capture the totality of I think what we mean, and we're sort of like I like Yancey talking about the sort of the sphere that we're trying to walking towards, but it's kind of hard to grasp. I think the language we use around the products that are being built right now is still struggling with that a little bit. So we get to be in this sort of messy middle. So yeah, just really felt the need to kind of be a little bit more public about this. Also, I think Xerox Designer replied with a real wonderful tweet, really saying like, consumer crypto isn't about mass market. It's about, let's click that link open. He has a great line. Consumer crypto is an aspirational product that people use as an expression of their identity. I think that gets at a really interesting angle as well. Oh, we are right on the lightning round. Give me one so we can continue the streak of 14 episodes actually making it through, despite the fact that Josh continues to pack more and more and more and more into these.
We're gonna blow open this screen soon. Peace, go to the other one, go to the Chamath intern one, because that was just funny.
It's so good.
Polygon go.
Polygon laid me off today. If you know any open BD positions, let me know. I was in charge of making sure Starbucks, GameStop, and Disney got 50 million Matic to dump in exchange for a Blockworks headline. Shots awesome. Fired. Shots fired.
Let's go.
I mean, maybe a little harsh. I think any of these L2s or products that are going out and trying to reach into the broader consumer world, I think is a worthwhile experiment. Not all of them are going to work, that's for sure. But I think, I still keep coming back to this. I think there's just such a rich, large bunch of consumers, very online, with their wallets tied to the online things they do, that are out there that want to go and feel like they're a part of something, use these experiences, build these products. There's a juicy crypto native crowd out there that I just think is still very much worth building to. And I think chasing just the mainstream is just going to be a real big challenge for the next little while, if not for a long while. So I know that definitely sad to see a large percentage of their team, I think close to 19%, get laid off. But also I think there's a power in refocusing, and that team is just absolutely stacked. So I wouldn't count them out just yet.
Hey, look what Google did to me too. This was literally just before this. I can't believe it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Shots fired, Google.
Yeah.
Give me one more. Let's just finish off on prediction markets, because I think it is very, very much a trend that's continuing. $50 million worth of volume on Polymarket. This is a product that has been around for a long, long time. It's one of the most obvious products to be built in crypto, and it's I think maybe by its lack of being like truly speculative with like unlimited upside or whatever, maybe it hasn't grown quite so fast. But definitely around elections, definitely around the Bitcoin ETF, there's sort of a ton of traction that picked up. And I think Shane and team have been really pioneering the onboarding experience. Like I think they're sort of bridging and sort of native experience around Polymarket has been just compelling for a number of years right now. And just what we're seeing out in the market, there's a lot of people running, maybe not just trying to go build like a prediction market platform, but pulling these features into different social contexts. And I think that's going to be a big part of this next cycle as well. So we love the prediction markets. If you're building something touching on this theme, we definitely want to hear from you. Alrighty. Only 3 minutes over. Jacob thought we might need an extra hour. I'm sure we could fill it. Love that you guys are hanging out here with us. We're back here every Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Our friends over at Boys Club have just dropped a new 7-minute show with Pleaser House. There we go. Natasha's out there talking about the news in a wonderful way. So make sure you go check it out. I think they're doing it at the same time as us right now, but it's 7 minutes. You can go tune in there a little bit. Applications are open still for C Club SEO 7. Josh and I are going to be in New York the week of the 12th of February. So if you're a builder over there and you want to meet up, we got to absolutely remove that button from pieces.
We got to tame that horse.
Tame the horses.
Saddle up, baby. We're coming to New York.
What else? Well, people like the horse sounds. So it's here. This episode's mintable on pods.media. You can find that on our Twitter. The mints are going off here today. That's because we did that drop with pods on Farcaster, with some sponsored mints there. So if there's still some available, you can check out our Farcaster. It's at C Club. Channel's getting super active over there. Come over and hang out if you believe in the future of consumer crypto. What else, Josh? Anything else we need to plug here? Just a deep appreciation for you coming and hanging out with us here and jumping in the chat. And we love you all.
Let's go. Thank you.
Thanks, folks.